I just got a call from a guy named Andrew, and he's got two problems. He's got a painful elbow and a strained calf or sprained ankle. We're not quite sure which one yet. Now, why is this a problem? Well, Andrew is a high-level pickleball player. In fact, he's going to the World Championships in 2 weeks' time. So I've asked him to come down. I'm going to take a look at him. We're going to see if we can get him ready to play in 2 weeks. But before we meet Andrew, and if you want to see whether or not we make it to the World Cup for pickleball in 14 days' time, make sure you like, subscribe, and click that notification bell so that you can see when I post the next video about how this treatment goes. And also, I'd love it if we can get up to 100,000 subscribers before Christmas. So we've got a few months to do it, so please share these videos and get them out there so more people can subscribe and I can get this information out to more people. Thanks so much. All right, Andrew, why have you come to me today?
Okay, well, I've got the Pickleball World Cup in 2 weeks, and I've strained my calf muscle, I believe, and I've also got, perhaps you'd call it tennis elbow,
yep.
Pickleball elbow, which has been quite severe this week. Now, I surf a lot, and I tried surfing after the weekend and I couldn't even lift myself.
What have you been doing for the stretching?
I've been doing some of the things I saw on your videos.
Very good. Have you hurt your calf before?
Not recently. I pulled my hamstrings quite a few times.
Okay, so commonly when there's a calf problem, you can usually trace it back to a back problem because the nerves from the back actually control the calves. And as we get older, how old are you now?
48.
48, okay, so at 48, there's actually a syndrome where you can get a recurrent calf injury from a back problem the older you get.
Okay.
Tell me about your lower back.
I've got worn discs.
Yeah.
I forget the
Yeah,
exact
DDD, they call it,
yeah.
degenerative disc disease.
And I had gone and seen a physiotherapist who suggested surgery many years ago, but I've managed to, just through yoga and exercise, not had to do that, and I haven't had pain for many years.
Any surgeries in the past?
Yep, I've got an ankle, I've got titanium in my right ankle and in my left shoulder.
Okay,
that was from a motorcycle accident, and this is from heliboarding.
So you fractured your right ankle and you've got a titanium plate in your right ankle and your right ankle is sore. Mm-hmm. Your left shoulder, but your right elbow is the sore one.
Yes.
Okay. And previous to pickleball, did you play anything?
Yeah, I've always played sport, so I played squash, tennis, water polo, golf, surfing.
Yeah.
So
you've always been fit and active.
Yeah.
But the intensity has changed recently? Or?
Well, actually I had a year off last year. I was living in Valencia and did very little.
Right.
So probably least than I've done in a while, and now I've sort of picked it back up.
Well, you haven't just picked it back up, you're going to go to a World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just jumped in at the deep end?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, let's have a look at you and we'll see if we can find some imbalances.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start from the ground, but I can also already see that your right shoulder's really dropped down.
Okay.
Is that normal for you notice? Or not? Maybe.
Perhaps because I've been stretching today, I'm not sure.
And your right foot is also collapsed down in just a little bit.
Thank you.
So after assessing him standing, I took Andrew through a series of functional movements to find out whether there were differences in his ankles versus one side and the other. And there was, with his right ankle being a little bit tighter, probably from that previous break he had. And you can see that here. He just doesn't have the range of motion in the right ankle when compared to the left ankle. So we had to come up with a plan for that. We also looked at the way his hips move, looking for tightness in his hips. Could that be affecting his ankle movement, or is it just that old break? So usually when I do this with people, I do find something in their hips. I find tightness in one side more than the other, and that is what we found here. There was no exception here. So after we looked at his ankles, I had a look at his shoulders as well, just to see if there's a difference. Now usually, if someone's right-handed, they will have a tightness in their right shoulder, just due to common movements. But when we start combining movements and looking at functional movements, we can look at where the spine works in conjunction with the shoulders and start to pick out certain deficits he has and build a pattern of deficits, especially when we're combining movements like this, using type 1 and type 2 movements of the spine. After looking at him moving, I got him on the table and did some more orthopedic type examinations to figure out whether he had some bony tightnesses or muscular tightnesses in the joints around his arm and wrist, and obviously his spine, just to see what else was going on in his body that could be affecting his elbow's ability to get better. Also did the same thing for his feet and knees and hips to see if there was something holding his ankle back from recovering, or even his calf back from recovering. I always like to work with the person's foot and ankle if they have a calf strain, because there are so many little joints in the foot and each one needs to do its job. So manipulating the foot is a great way to get the ankle moving better and take pressure away from the calf. I also find that over the years, manipulations can be useful when applied correctly, and so sometimes I manipulate the spine, the SI joints, the neck, and even the elbow joints, wrist joints, and other joints in the body, just to get some extra movement into those joints and help free off any restrictions. All right, so first we need to work on that ankle strength, okay? So we're gonna do that a bunch of different ways. First thing I wanna do is this. I want you to face the wall and just go up onto your tiptoes and consciously bring your feet, to, your heels towards each other, even closer than that. Go up and down a few times. All right, I want you to put this ball between your feet like this, and you're squeezing it as you go up, and you're going to try and pull it forward as though you're trying to throw it forward. Okay? So after I've given him some specific exercises for his feet and ankles, we also moved on to some more whole body type exercises which really help him prepare him for the game of pickleball. So this one, for example, is just giving him a better sense of balance through his ankle and strengthening that deep calf muscle, the soleus. Once I've given him the exercise for his ankles, I also gave him exercises to open up his tight hip, which will ultimately help the calf from what I call the top down. And lastly, I wanted to make it very pickleball specific for him, so I gave him a nice warm-up drill that involves taking the hand and the paddle to different areas around an imaginary clock to get his shoulder, spine and hips all integrated back into a more functional way of moving. What a nice guy. But I think the problem with Andrew's body is that his ankle wasn't moving as well as it could do, probably due to the surgery he had when he was younger. And somehow his hips had got a little bit out of balance as well. There was more rotation on one side than there was on the other, and this could be affecting his back. But also, if his back and hips weren't moving very well, it could be affecting his shoulder. And also, when he was lying down, he told me that he had an old collarbone fracture, which could be affecting the way his shoulder moves. And so we looked at that, and we looked at the muscles up in his neck as well. So if his hips and back aren't moving that well, then his shoulder and elbow don't really get a chance to get to the ball in pickleball as efficiently as it could, which means that the muscles in his forearm could be overworked. So the plan with him is to take this whole body approach using exercise and some therapy to get him ready for his competition in 2 weeks' time.